Hello and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Is no BS Crypto right? Can 100,000 HBAR make you a millionaire by 2025? Okay, let's get into it. So, got another video here from No BS Crypto. His last video was a real good one, so when I saw this it really caught my attention and I thought I'd give it another watch. And I have to say, once again, another great video by No BS Crypto. I really like his style in regards to how he does predictions, I must say, because he really does do a deep dive. You know, when he does give predictions, he really does give a deep dive, so I have to give him his props on this. He's really not just pulling things out of the air or just doing it based on hype. He really does as much analytical data as he possibly can to give these kind of, these kind of predictions, which is always great. So let's get into this. Let's go through the whole thing. I'm not going to obviously go through absolutely everything, but I've bullet pointed the main points and thought I'd just obviously, as always, add my little 2 cents into this. So, can 100,000 HBAR make you a millionaire by 2025? So the first thing he's discussing is just what the current price is of HBAR, which is roughly around 7 cents. His math made it so that to be a millionaire, you would need a price of roughly around $10 per HBAR, which from the beginning he says, he thinks is unlikely for this market cycle. I agree. I'll explain more as we go along. But then let's get into how he's doing his research and how he's coming to these kinds of conclusions. So he starts looking at the global market growth based on historic data and recent predictions. So this is basically, again, what I'm talking about when I say that he does some real deep dives for his predictions. He's going into like historical data, looking at charts and things like that of like past events and stuff like that, to really get an idea of how he's going to base this kind of prediction. Now, this is the reason why I don't give predictions based on this. Simply because you are using past data to potentially indicate future data, right? And the thing with that is you can never necessarily guarantee what past data is going to be for the future. So, for example, if we was thinking in, let's say, 2018, for example, what we'd project the economy to be like in 2020, well, we wouldn't have accounted for the big lockdown that we had, right? Try not to say it too much because I don't want to get this shut down, but you know what I'm talking about, right? And so when you think about that, that obviously put the world at a standstill and really affected the economy. We could never have forecasted that. We never saw that coming. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying about, past data. Now, the one thing I will say is if you are going to do these predictions, however, I agree that No BS Crypto is going about it in the right way. So although I don't give price predictions because I do think it's hard, plus I'm not really like a chart analyst or anything like that. I don't really do that kind of stuff. So for me, if I was going to give any kind of price prediction, it really would be just looking at what I think the utility is and stuff like that. But I'm not really doing great equations to come to my answer. So there's no point in me really doing it, right? Because there's not a lot of substance to it. And that's why I have to give No BS Crypto props, because he's using the data to basically predict what HBAR's market dominance could be, right? And he's using these graphs and this past data to get that information. And with all fairness to him, if you think about like chart analysts who give price predictions, they're all using past data, right? That's exactly what they do. They look at previous charts and compare the charts of, previous years and stuff like that. They look at what the charts were like for previous bull markets and see if it's like lining up for it to potentially be coming into a bull market and that kind of thing. So that's exactly what analysts do. That's exactly what chart readers do. So I can't knock what he's doing at all. I'm just saying this is why I don't give price predictions, because there's nothing to say where the economy is going to definitely go. We can't really say for sure. We don't know if we're going to have another lockdown at some point in the future. That kind of thing that could just really throw us through a loop and just affect everything. But I do give him props because the information that he is getting, he's definitely doing very good research to get the information and come to his conclusions. So yeah, it really is just a big deep dive into that. And, you know, from the conclusion that he's got from this, from the graphs and the charts that he goes through and trying to find out what HBAR's market dominance could be, he basically says $10 is just not going to happen. It's not realistic. I agree. I've said from previous a video that I did, I think to me, $1 to me sounds reasonable. Now that's not a price prediction. This is just what I think is more reasonable and what I think is unreasonable. I don't really think $10 is realistic. I think that's very much a hype thing. Like, I think that's very unlikely to occur. BS Crypto did a video before where he talked about HBAR potentially going to $3, and I will be honest with you, I couldn't disagree with the points that he made. So I do also think $3 is possible. However, I have said that I do think $3 is on the high end. So for me, I would be saying $3 would be, you know, I don't want to say perfect scenario, but I would think it's the very best case scenario in my opinion. So then he starts looking at previous all-time highs of other cryptos to see what the market caps would be if HBAR had the market caps of these other cryptos at their previous all-time highs, right? And so one of the ones that he compared it to was Cardano. And he said with Cardano's previous all-time high, if HBAR was to have Cardano's previous all-time high, he would give it a price of $2.82. He thinks that's possible, which again, he said $3 in his previous video. So, yes, I think that's possible. And again, the reason why I would say that, just putting it quite simply, is I've said this before, but what you've got to understand with like the crypto market and, you know, even the stock market, whatever, when value goes into the crypto markets, even though you then go into a bear market and value comes out, there's still more value in it than what was previously in it before, if that makes sense. So let me just give you a real basic example. I don't want to go too complex here with this, so I'll make it real easy for you guys. Let's say you have a crypto market that at first, let's just say it starts off and there's only $100 in there, right? Now let's say you have a bull market and then the total market cap for the whole crypto asset class, let's just say it's $1,000, right? So you've had a $900 increase. Now let's say you have a bear market. So a lot of liquidity leaves the market through liquidations, people getting wrecked from like short selling or longing with leverage, that kind of thing. People just panic selling, all that kind of stuff, right? Rug pulls, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's say through the bear market, the total crypto market cap goes down to, let's say now $500. Okay, well, it started at $100, right? So even though we've gone through a bear market and we've lost the high of what was $1,000, we've still got a $400 increase. So there's still more liquidity in the market than was originally. And so when liquidity comes back, so when we have, let's say, another bull market, right, and we have a bull run, well, from there was already $500 in. So let's say, you know, you have your next bull run. Your next time that you have your peak for the all-time high market cap for the crypto market, it could be, let's just say, $2,000 next time. Do you see what I'm saying? And then when it drops down back into the next bear market, it could just drop down to, let's say, $1,500, right? So again, we've lost liquidity, but there's still more in there than what the previous bull run was. Do you see what I'm saying? And it keeps growing. So if you think about it now, what the previous all-time high for Cardano was, that was in the previous bull run. So is it possible for that liquidity and more to flow back into the crypto market when the next bull run occurs? Well, yeah. Now, obviously, that's not guaranteed that that's all going to go to HBAR, but it's possible, right? It's possible. And so when it comes to bull runs, really all that's happening with bull runs is that people have invested into mainly Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the main one. Once they've had their fun with Bitcoin, they decide to liquidate, take their profits, they sell, and then they just start looking at other cryptos that they can start making more money on, right? It's like, okay, I've made my money out of Bitcoin. What hasn't popped off right now? Okay, you know, Ethereum hasn't really popped off now. Okay, let me get some Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum's had its run. Now what can I get into? Oh, XRP's not had its run yet. Okay, let me get into XRP. Okay, I've had my XRP. Oh, what's that I've done now? oh, HBAR, let me get into HBAR. So that's all it is. It's just happening in cycles of people going in and out of cryptos, just trying to get as much money out of them as possible. That's basically what a bull run is. And so, yeah, like, I do think that that is possible, that HBAR could get the same market cap of what Cardano's previous all-time high is. Obviously, we don't know what Cardano's next all-time high is going to be, so we can't obviously judge that. But yeah, I think that's definitely plausible. Not to say it's going to happen, but I think it's plausible. He did compare it to other cryptos as well, but that was the main one because I think that's the thing that he's really trying to say is more realistic, you know, in terms of what HBAR can reach. Okay, so moving on from this, he just basically talks about why he's still bullish on HBAR, the things that he's got to look forward to in his opinion. The Saudi partnership. Now, that was announced recently. I think that is a massive deal. Saudi is a very wealthy country, you know, so straight away you already know there's going to be a lot of money going on around there. They've had the $250 million partnership. He also mentioned that Saudi is actually one of the biggest countries for crypto, and he obviously mentioned big money in Saudi, which, as I said, just yes, very much agree with that completely. And obviously, yeah, that's going to be huge, right? Because when you know that there's big money involved, if you can get these countries utilizing this technology, yeah. And the thing is as well is with this, I think Saudi, as I said, because they're such a wealthy country, I don't think it's going to be a big deal for them to just throw big amounts of money at this kind of stuff. You know, there's a reason why these countries are so like crypto friendly, because they don't worry about money like this. So tax and stuff like that, it's not a big deal to them because they've already got money. Like, so they're not bothered about like taxing people and stuff like that. That's why you get places like Dubai, UAE, you know, that they don't worry about taxing you because they've got so much money anyway. They don't need to be trying to take from their residents, you know, like they just don't need to do that. So for them, they don't tax heavy because it's just not a big deal to them. Money is really not an issue to them. So I don't know if you've been seeing anything like the boxing and stuff like that that goes on over in like UAE right now and stuff like that, but they're spending like ridiculous money. They're spending crazy money because they want to make UAE like a more tourist attraction place. So, you know, they're spending a lot of money to get like big things like boxing fights and stuff like that to just, you know, make it more appealing for people to want to come over and watch certain things and just, you know, get to know the country, get more involved with the country. So again, I think of stuff like that, and I can imagine the money that could be spent over in Saudi Arabia. Like, I can just see that there's big money to be made there. And this again just shows you like how far ahead these other countries are compared to the US, because the SEC are just so stubborn and just not willing to try and let the asset class grow. Like, you've got big partnerships happening in other countries, you've got places that are trying to get regulations through the door. And like, you've got the SEC here who is still trying to call all crypto securities. It's just ridiculous, to be honest. But, you know, this is where, to me, they're just shooting themselves in the foot. So, you know, to me, in the long term, I think they're probably going to regret it, to be honest, because they're just not doing themselves any favors. So, you know, that's on their head. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, so the next thing that he discussed is how Hedera patented their technology. Which he believes is like a genius idea to avoid being copied. I completely agree with this. I remember Charles Hoskinson was someone who was really negative about this because he just didn't like the fact that the technology wasn't open source. But the problem with that is, like, I get it. I do understand, like, you want it to be trusted, you want it to be verified. I do understand that. But the other thing is like, if you've got this amazing technology, like, for example, hashgraph is very unique to even cryptos, right? Because the other cryptos usually use blockchain. So you've already got something that's very unique right there. If you just get this technology out there, people could just duplicate the source code and then just try and create their own version of Hedera and HBAR. Do you see what I'm saying? And so imagine if you're Leemon, Baird, and you're Mance Harmon, and you've created this network, you know, you've put your blood, sweat and tears in, and then a corporation who's way bigger than you, because you guys haven't really made your stamp yet, you're still, you know, very much in the early stages, you get this huge corporation that just take your idea. You know, like, it's very possible, and I could just imagine that will be soul destroying, because this is your pride and joy, this is your, you know, putting your life's work here to try and make this a success, and then you just get this huge corporation that just comes and takes it. No, I wouldn't like that. So I don't blame them for patenting the technology at all. I really don't. I think it is a smart idea, to be honest. Maybe be transparent, like, at the later dates, you know, once you've kind of got to a point where you're more established and it's kind of like you're already well ahead, then yeah, maybe at that point you can make it open source at that point. But I don't think it's a bad idea what they've done here at all. And then the last thing that he just mentioned was Charles Hoskinson, funnily enough, and Brad Garlinghouse wanting to work with Hedera. I released a video not long ago in regards to Brad and Leemon having that interview together. It was a great thing to see, real beautiful thing. Charles, as you can hear, sounds like now he wants to work with Hedera, although he was slamming them before because they patented their technology. But again, this is what it's all about. Unity. I've said it numerous times. We want unity. That's what's going to help move us forward. That's what's going to help move the whole industry forward. That's what's going to help with adoption. That's a huge thing. So thinking that you've got Charles Hoskinson and Brad Garlinghouse, you know, these are all great minds. You know, these are all people who've helped create these blockchains. Like, these people coming together could potentially just create great things. So I'm all for that, to be honest with you. I think that's a great thing, and I would love to see it, because I'd love to see what they could come up with. And could they maybe actually have the blockchains connect together, you know, to do something as well, that kind of thing. You know, it'll be amazing to see. Who knows what they could come up with, but very much real positive stuff here. So those were the main things that he mentioned as to why he's still bullish for HBAR. But overall, he did say in regards to HBAR getting to like $10, no, he doesn't think that's the case. I agree with him. Just simply put, like, the market cap would be way too much. You'd be expecting way too much of a profit for that. I don't really think that's, you know, not this market cycle. It's not to say that it couldn't happen. It's more just expecting it this market cycle, because if we are potentially going to be having this bull run this year, which is looking very possible to me, and I think the ETF is very much a catalyst to get that happening. If that is the case, then yeah, to expect the run from here, what the price is now, like 7 cents up to like $10, like, yeah, that's a bit much. That really is a bit much. I just don't think there'd be enough liquidity to get it to that kind of level, because as I said earlier, not all liquidity is going to go just to HBAR, right? There's going to be other cryptos that's going to be getting liquidity as well. So I don't think in this rally it's going to make it to that kind of price. But I do agree with all the points that he's made. I do still think there's absolutely great upside potential for HBAR. To me, $3, as he said, I still think that's realistic. I think that's possible. I think it's very much on the optimistic side. I think that's best case scenario. But even if we're talking like $1, you know, that's still a real good price action to me. Like, I think that would still be great, and I think a lot of people could still make a lot of profit with that. So, you know, even if it's not necessarily $3, you know, even if we get $1, I still think that's great personally. So we will see. Who knows what will happen? No one knows for sure. But I do agree overall, $10, if you're expecting that, I would say just bring down your expectations just a little bit, because I think that's a bit unrealistic in my opinion. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's your guys' decision. Believe what you want to believe, do what you want to do. But with all the things that have been said here, all the points that have been made, I do agree. I wouldn't really be hedging my bets for $10 of a HBAR. I don't think that's really realistic in my opinion. But what do you guys think? 100,000 HBAR to make you a millionaire by 2025. Do you agree with this? Do you think it's possible for HBAR to make you a millionaire with 100,000 tokens? Do you think that HBAR could actually make you more than a millionaire with 100,000 tokens? Or do you not agree with this? Do you not think that HBAR could make you a millionaire with 100,000 tokens? And if not, how many tokens do you think it would actually take to make you a millionaire? Or do you just not think that HBAR can make you a millionaire at all? Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'll be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.